Hello and welcome to this sacred space, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at Montclair, for this celebration of life service for a very special woman, a dearly beloved friend, guide, intuitive mystic, LaVaughn Eliesa Slaven. I'm Reverend Scott Samler Michael, Senior Co-Minister here at UUCM, and we're joined by Marcus Hauk, Director of Music Ministries here. The Unitarian Universalist way of celebrating a life, it has precious little to do with doctrine, but everything to do with remembering all that we can about our lost loved one so she can remain more completely in our hearts and minds. We gather in ritual when a dear one has passed, as people have done since the dawn of time. Our guides are our conscience, our love, our sense of decorum, and our acknowledgement that some great mystery pervades our existence for which we're called to bear witness. To that end, I ask you to get comfortable in your seats, turn off all electronic devices, or at least set them to stun, as we enter into the spirit of worship and remembrance. It's been a joy to get to know you, Jason and Corinne, and indirectly to get to know LaVaughn, whom I never had the pleasure of meeting. But I kind of feel like I know her just from the time that we've spent and the stories shared. And I chose this stole to wear today because it was made for me by some women in my former congregation who would also call themselves pagans or mystics. And besides the rainbow, it uses Fibonacci's ratio for the size of the various shapes. So I'm glad you thought it was fitting for me to wear, Jason. Jason and Corinne, I invite you to come up and light the chalice together at this time. And I'm going to share a reading that you guys selected. And this is from the Sufi mystic Rumi. And he sings these words. How will you know the difficulties of being human if you're always flying off to blue perfection? Where will you plant your grief seeds? We need ground to scrape and hoe, not the sky of unspecified desire. So we're lighting our chalice ever so slowly because I think the pilot light went out, to honor the truth that here we till the ground of grief and of remembrance, and we do it in hopes of doing honor to our dearly departed loved one. Thank you. And now something I've actually not had the pleasure of doing here. Go ahead, you can go back down to your seats if you like. We're going to enter the space in a way that I'm told would resonate with LaVaughn. So we're going to do what's called calling the directions. This is an earth-based or pagan practice. We do this as people have done throughout the ages. We're going to situate ourselves in this world for the sake of the Spirit, for the sake of our ceremony, for the sake of LaVaughn. So I invite you to rise as you're able to do so, if you'd like to join for this part. Since we are open to the embodiment of love and compassion, to intuition and new beginnings, I invite you to invoke our connection to the 7 directions. First, we'll face east. First, we turn to the east, the land of the sunrise, opening ourselves to new beginnings and revelations. And then to the south, which is to your right, we turn to the south, the land of the sun, honoring the divine child within each of us, opening ourselves to curiosity, learning, joy, and wonder, and to the warmth of love. To the west, to your right again. We turn to the west, the land of sunsets, opening to the power of perception and discernment and to omnipresent change. And then to the north, the land of ice and the healing darkness. We open ourselves to the storytellers and ancestors, the perpetual endings, to the guidance of those who have walked this earth before us. And next, we turn our attention above, opening ourselves to the sky and to the stars, the land of the heavens, to the great mystery of all that is, all the magic of that life-giving air and breath around us. And we turn our attention to below, opening to the earth upon which all the life we know takes place, opening to the strength and nourishment, the resilience and beauty of our terrestrial home. And lastly, we turn within, opening to the spark of divinity living in each one of us, which brings us to life, connecting us to one another, here alive now, who was born before and who will ever be born. We honor that holy fire within each of us. And I encourage you now, as we've opened ourselves up to this spiritual encounter, to be prepared to sing this song, and Marcus is going to teach it to us. The earth, the air, the fire, the water. And I think he's going to want you, and you probably don't need the hymnal.
No, it's very simple, and you can have a seat if you want.
You can have a seat if you want, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. So, this is a very simple song. It's called the earth, the air, the fire, the water. And the words are, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. I think we can handle that, yeah? Okay. I don't think we need the hymnals for that. And it's in our hymnal, but it's not a hymn. It's a chant. And the difference between a hymn and a chant is the hymn has usually a lot of words, and there's a beginning and a middle of an end. And a chant is more of a meditation. And it's more of a, think of it as a spiral or a circle, okay? We're going to sing it a number of times. We don't know how many times. Whatever feels good.
Exactly.
You know?
That's right.
And what feels right. And it might grow in intensity, it might get louder, it might get softer, or it might not. Whatever happens, happens. Let the Spirit move us. Whenever you feel you've caught on, just join in. You can also hum, you can harmonize, all of that is welcome. If you feel like getting up and dancing or swaying your body while you're sitting, all of that is allowed. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. Join me. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm very lucky to do what I do and to do it in this place with folks like Marcus. So next, we're going to hear some readings, and they're going to be shared by Corinne Bogdan. Hey, Debbie Ann, make sure we have 18 unmuted. Thanks.
This first reading comes from Conrad Aiken, who was a Pulitzer Prize-winning confessional poet born in Savannah, Georgia. He is best remembered as the editor of the poems of Emily Dickinson. This is from Discordance. Music I heard with you was more than music, and bread I broke with you was more than bread. Now that I am without you, all is desolate. All that was once so beautiful is dead. Your hands once touched this table and this silver, and I have seen your fingers hold this glass. These things do not remember you, beloved, and yet your touch upon them will not pass. For it was in my heart you moved among them, and blessed with them with your hands and with your eyes, and in my heart they will remember always. They knew you once, O beautiful and wise. The second reading is from Nature by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was a one-time Unitarian minister and transcendentalist writer and poet. In his essay, Nature, Emerson writes, "Build therefore your own world, so fast will disagreeable appearances vanish. And when the summer comes from the south, so shall the advancing spirit carry with it the beauty it visits and the song which enchants it. Standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space, and all mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle of God."
Thank you, Corinne. For a musical interlude, I'm going to play a piece that I chose because I'm told that LaVaughn was a fan of 9 Inch Nails. 9 Inch Nails, as you might know, is a pretty, intense rock band. And I'm not going to attempt to sing it. I'm just going to play a piano version. But it's a song called "Something I Can Never Have." It's a love song.
Thank you, Marcus. LaVaughn Slaven was born in New York City, September 26, 1963. She would eventually be known simply as LaVaughn. Bonnie was her nickname to distinguish her from her grandma, also named LaVaughn. I understand she only liked to let a few people call her Bonnie. She grew up in part in Warren, Ohio, attended Youngstown State University in Ohio, finishing her education here at Montclair State, which is where she met Jason, but you'll hear a lot more about that shortly. And LaVaughn had a half-brother and a half-sister, I'm told. LaVaughn was a seer, a diviner, a practitioner of what I'm told I should call LaVaughanism, because her expansive understanding of spiritual encounter couldn't be contained in any system that she had ever read about or seen before. I'm told she was thrilled to discover that Michelle Obama's middle name is also LaVaughn. Jason told me that he called her his little hobbit. She loved her comforts, her coffee done a certain way, her treats du jour, treats like gluten-free pizza, gourmet bespoke sweets, gluten-free macarons. I was told that her favorite place to go was the couch. I'm also told that she had a sense of humor so dry it made dust seem damp. Some described her as sarcastic, a psychic version of the critic Dorothy Parker. You know, the critic who coined that phrase, "Beauty's only skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone." LaVaughn was fond of asking, "What fresh hell is this?" She worked in New York, moving from publishing to publicity. She did publicity for Fay Wray's autobiography. You know, Fay Wray from King Kong. She did work for James Dickey, the author of Deliverance. She was friends and worked with Bert Sugar, the famous sports writer, with his bow tie and his love of boxing. She was a voracious reader. She loved Ursula Le Guin, Scott Card, Graham Hancock, and any text about ancient aliens. She knew that we are all made of stardust, and that invigorated her curiosity. She explored alchemy, and of course, loved Harry Potter. She was described to me as a little bit misanthropish, meaning that she loved humanity, but individual people, well, you might have to prove yourself. She definitely, I'm told, she was someone who loved her clients, the people that she helped to see and to learn. She was an avid blogger and a swing dancer. She was a great companion for one's spiritual journey and for one's earthly exploration. I once served a church in Northern Virginia, in Burke, not far from where Jason and Corinne live today. A nearby minister colleague told me that she had crossed paths with Vaughnie several times. That's what my friend called Vaughnie. My friend Irene Glass is a pagan priestess who is also an affiliated minister of the UU Church of Frederick, Maryland. She had fond memories of Vaughnie's very exacting advice. My brother Daniel Michael, who once hosted the second most popular pagan-themed radio program, Main Street Universe, also remembers LaVaughn. He remembers her calling the show once or twice. So I can think of no better way to honor LaVaughn than to share this wisdom from her celestial healing blog spot. And she writes, "Your future is your own to shape and mold as you desire. I, LaVaughn, as a psychic, see only potentials which you must bring into creation or transform. Trust your internal wisdom above all else. Any teacher, however wise, can give you only questions. You provide the answers according to your own truth. You provide the answers according to your own truth." So thanks, LaVaughn, for staying open to the great mystery, for being a ready guide to help so many honor their encounter with the Spirit as well, and for being such a great partner to Jason.
Hello. Who am I doing an impersonation of? Your client, LaVaugh's clients will know what I'm doing. I'd like to ask everyone to open your Bibles to 2 Corinthians. That's a joke. Oh. Give it a minute. I'll be the first to admit, as it's mine, it's not a particularly funny joke, but if it offends you, you probably didn't know LaVaughn very well. And she'd be mad at me if I didn't take the opportunity to wing this parting shot. My wife, LaVaughn, was amongst a great many things a master rhetorician, a champion competitive speaker. She amassed more trophies and medals in that one discipline alone than I have acquired over my many pursuits in toto. As I progressed through my military and academic careers, she was first and foremost my biggest fan and cheerleader. But LaVaughn was also always my editor and public speaking coach. And as such, she reminded me that when giving a presentation, I need to tell the audience what I'm going to tell them, and then to tell them what I told them. I would therefore be remiss and, oh, by the way, invoke LaVaugh's eternal ire if I didn't present my small sorry encomium to her in accordance with what she taught me. What I'm about to tell you is the story of how, on or about February 18th, 1988, in Montclair, New Jersey, I met the love of my life. I didn't know it at the time, though. I, a chubby, diffident, at best, college student with a burgundy mohawk, was shanghaied into accompanying an old friend and fellow theater major, along with his date, to a party in a cramped apartment in downtown Montclair, right here on Bloomfield Ave. My dubiety about the whole expedition was confirmed when my friend promptly proceeded to get thoroughly soused and retreat into a corner to lament the loss of his high school girlfriend who had dumped him 3 years ago. His current female companion and I, failing to get him out of the funk, determined that we would have a good time regardless. We staked out a beachhead against one wall, out of the flow of traffic, not at all interested in the hullabaloo surrounding us. And lo, despite everything, we ended up having a pretty good time. A good time that soon got even better in my estimation. When we thought the evening was going to be a gentle cruise from there on out, that LaVaughn, full of liquid cheer and bonhomie, literally pounced upon the two of us like a jaguar dropping from a tree branch. I mean that quite literally, the pouncing part, not Melina literally. I mean, she actually dove on us, planted our, like an orangutan, hung on us, and proceeded to give, in succession, each of us a kiss, a big old smackaroo. Sorry, Corinne. I remember thinking, I'm glad I changed my mind about coming to this party. I was also struck by how my companion didn't even blink. Remember, at this time, LaVaughn didn't know me from Adam. I was a second semester freshman. She was a super senior in her 5th+ year. I certainly knew who she was, though. I'd seen her tearing around campus in one place, then another, loud, dynamic, garrulous. Though she was a communications major, she was an incredibly skilled actress, and I remember marveling at her performance and Welsh dialect in a performance of Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood. It was also given to me to understand that she was the owner of a giant, empirically gorgeous but certifiably insane lesbian Afghan hound by the name of Amber. LaVaughn was visually striking. At the time, she rocked a jet black inverted bob haircut. And funny aside about that, years later, I would find out that a friend had asked her at the time, "Is that your natural color?" To which LaVaughn replied in typical fashion, "Yes, I'm full-blooded Chinese." Anyway, after that, the three of us had a fantastic evening. I don't remember everything we discussed. Some things jumped out. Music, she was attracted by my hardcore attire, and a party goer ambles by and tells her, "Hey, you owe me a tarot card reading." And I offered that I too knew a bit about the Book of Tarot and things divinatory, having learned from my mother. Conversation drifted to things spiritual, Emerson, Campbell, psychic phenomenon, and LaVaughn revealed that she was taking her self-development as an intuitive very seriously and was thinking of going professional. I thought that was a marvelous idea, and I revealed that I felt a need for some guidance as I was having some concerns about the path I was on at the moment. And I confessed that in my darkest moments, I wondered whether or not my life had any purpose. It was then that LaVaughn, looking very concerned, leaned in, laid a comforting hand on my forearm, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "Never, ever think your life serves no purpose. If nothing else, it can serve as a bad example." I believe I said something like, well, thanks for that, I suppose. When we parted for the night, I came away thinking LaVaughn was a really cool, funny, older woman. She would later tell me that she came away thinking that I was, quote unquote, a cute kid. I will take it. I will take it. I saw her a couple times after that in the few years following. I gave her a ride home from another party. We discussed, amongst other things, Zulu war songs and the horrors of apartheid. I remember her being very taken aback by the number of empty super big gulp cups in the passenger seat footwell. I was a fat kid, remember. Flash forward almost a decade. We ran into each other at a performance by a mutual friend's band, and she looked amazing, beautiful, radiant. She reminded me of Marcia Gay Harden, upon whom I had a huge crush. She looked younger even, and somehow taller. In talking to her, I found out that the former was due to becoming a teetotaler and a complete change in her diet. The latter, looking me eye to eye now, she extended her leg and pointed 6-inch Lucchini platforms. So much for my powers of observation. But the real meet cute happened a few months later at a music show where she gave a poetry reading and she knocked everybody's socks off, most especially mine. This time we retreated to the corner as a duo, a happy condition that pretty much never ended after that, down to today. Oh, and a bit of irony, the same friend who took me to that initial party was with me, and he became rather peeved at having to hold both mine and LaVaughn's coat as we canoodled in a corner. Sorry, Corinne. Okay, I don't want this to become open mic night at the Apollo or the methadone clinic, but it is important, I think, to include these humorous anecdotes. Firstly, because it keeps me from crying and embarrassing myself. And secondly, more importantly, it illustrates, I hope, how much humor was a part of LaVaugh's personality, and it is one of the incalculable number of reasons that I loved her, and I love her still. As a couple, on paper, I can see how some people would scratch their heads. This gorgeous psychic intuitive and this? I am admittedly a knuckle-dragging troglodyte, dripping with primordial ooze, but I will say that when people saw us together, they would invariably say something like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." I always like that better than those who I was to find out would say to LaVaughn, "He's smarter than I expected." Or perhaps my least favorite, "Well, he's with you, so I suppose it can't be all bad." We would joke about how, any Simpsons fans here? We would joke about how we were like the romantic pairing of comic book guy and Agnes Skinner, because we would always say to each other, "We hate all the same things. You make me laugh." Some of her favorite quotes, I mean, she's a person afflicted with chronic fatigue. She would rise late. And coming into the kitchen, I would greet her with a, "Good morning, darling," to which she would invariably reply, "Oh, is it?" Or if it were still later, which was frequently the case, she would say, "You are full of shit. It is neither good nor morning." But always with a wry grin on her face. Sorry about the potty talk. She would calm me down when I, insufferable pedant that I am, would blow up and start pontificating when someone misused begs the question. But then 10 minutes later, I'd be doing the same for her because someone on TV would say, 10 items or fewer, and she would yell at the top of her lungs. So people would say 10 items or less. I blew it. They would say 10 items or less, and she would yell at the screen and say, she would say, "Fewer, 10 items or fewer," and all the cats would run and hide under the couch. So, she was acerbic. That was another thing I loved about her. But while her talk was often sarcastic, she lived forgiveness, compassion, justice. She believed the words one speaks are important, but she knew that what one does day in and day out is even more so. And while we agreed that Plato was a fascistic, misogynistic piece of excrement, we did both agree on his dictum that one should be kind, for everyone is fighting a hard battle. It's not to say we didn't have our little spats, but it was 99% of it was quotidian, mundane stuff. We had to figure out all the ways men and women communicate in a relationship, me most especially. Some advice to all the young men out there: if you're out with your lady and she shows you some sheets saying, "Feel these sheets, aren't these lovely?" it means she wants you to buy the sheets. Buy the sheets, okay? Learn from my mistakes. She followed me out to California, poor lady. While I'm named after the Greek hero Jason, I always saw LaVaughn and myself as being more like Odysseus and Penelope. I would go off to war, sometimes real, mostly metaphorical, but then and she would be at home on her cyber loom, and when we would get back together, we would share our stories, and it was like it hadn't happened or it wasn't real unless we shared it with each other. And since her ascension, everything feels unreal, everything feels wrong. LaVaughn was conversant with literature on addiction, and she told me often of stories trying to fill a God-sized hole, and I didn't understand that until now. I find myself in the hell of trying to fill a LaVaughn-sized hole, which for me is just another way of saying the same thing. LaVaughn always advised her clients not to take on fixer-uppers in their relationship, but she nonetheless pursued a relationship with me and over the objections of many of her friends. LaVaughn was famous for absolutely not putting up with BS, yet she chose to spend her life with me, if you can believe it. I did not deserve LaVaughn, but happily for me, at any rate, she insisted that love is not about deserving, and she lived in accordance with that belief. It is not a question of deserving. If it were, LaVaughn would not have loved me. She, in her mercy, deigned to pick me as her life partner. And I try my hardest every day to be worthy of that singular honor. I thought I appreciated LaVaughn, and I did, but I did not appreciate her sufficiently. To turn the aphorism on its head, I did not know how full my heart was until it was emptied. I wish I could tell her one more time how much I love her, how happy she made me, how proud of her I am. I speak in the present tense because on some days, the best days, I know she is here with me. I felt it the first day after she ascended. How do I go on? It was then that Corinne, my daughter, delving into some of her mom's things so as to feel close to her, brought me something I never knew LaVaughn had. It was a silver amulet with the Nordic rune for strength on it. LaVaughn knew I was a longtime student of the runes, and I told myself this is LaVaughn telling me that I had to be strong for Corinne, for her friends and clients, and for myself. I don't want any of you to forget her. She is someone worth remembering. If you are here now, either virtually or in person, it is more than likely that she loved you. And part of the reason I'm speaking to you today and at such length is to let you know that if LaVaughn was your friend, then I am your friend. If LaVaughn loved you, then I love you. And if you, wherever you find yourself, if you need something and I can be of assistance, I want you to contact me. Well, you'll know I'll be happy to hear that I'm at the point where I tell you what I've told you. I appreciate you putting up with my desultory, disjointed storytelling. LaVaughn herself always warned me, you do go on, dear. And on it would seem. But again, what I've told you is how I met my best friend and the love of my life, and how lucky I was to spend 25 years with her. What a tremendous honor it was, and what great fun we had. LaVaughn, I want you to know I'm trying very hard to be the man you thought I was, the man you knew I could be. I want to see if I can finally become a good example. I still need your help, though. So please, when you get a chance, come and tell me how I'm doing. I love you, darling.
Thank you, Jason. And we're now going to share a song. You'll have a chance to tell some more stories during the reception back in Fletcher Hall after the service. But we're going to share a song now.
So this is called We Won't Wait Any Longer, and it's known also as the pagan national anthem. I didn't know there was a pagan national anthem, but here we are. You have the text in an insert in your order of service.
Yes. If you didn't
in your
get
program.
order of service, that's make sure you raise your hand so we can get you one.
If you don't have that. And there's a lot of words, but the chorus keeps coming around, and that's definitely something you could pick up.
And it's always easier to sing when you stand, so if you're comfortable doing so, we invite you to do that. Anyone else need one? All right, here you go.
We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. We have trusted no man's promise. We have kept to just ourselves. We have suffered from the lies in all the books upon your shelves, and our patience and endurance through the burning times and now have given us the strength to keep our vow. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. You have grazed away the heather and raised a sacred grove. You have driven native peoples from the places that they love. Though your greed has been unbounded, you have felt the pangs of shame every time you trod upon the mother's name. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. And though you thought you had destroyed the memory of the ancient way, still the people light the balefire every year on Solstice Day. And on Beltane, even Samhain, you can find us on the hill, invoking once again the triple will. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. ages, many races have risen and have gone, but dispersed among the nations of the world we linger on. Now the time has come to take the sacred cauldron of rebirth and fulfill our ancient pledges to the earth. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. Let's sing the chorus one more time. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger than before. We won't wait any longer. We are stronger. Please have a seat.
Nicely done. They don't normally let me sing that much in church services here. I usually think it's because we have so many other good singers, but that was great fun. So thank you. And thank you for giving us a really good reason to use that song again, because we love that song so much. So I have a couple of concluding remarks that I may find one day amidst the script here, but it happens. Give me a second. All right, here we go. All right. Let me have the secondary script. Thank you. Let me turn this off because it's too breathy. Okay. Thank you for that. We have heard stories. We're about to hear some more over a repast. So I invite you to a memorial benediction. In whatever manner you invoke the holy of your understanding, I invite you right now. Grant us strength as we honor the life of LaVaughn Slaven. Sharpen our memory, knowing LaVaughn lives in our thoughts and in our stories about her. We know that our tears are evidence of our love. Be present to us, Great Spirit. Help us open our hearts to your eternal mysteries. And may the life honored here multiply the love we share for one another and bring us closer to engaging and encountering that mystery that pervades all being, that brings everything to life. Because here in our gathering is a deepening of meaning, an opportunity to reflect and meditate on the importance of loving relationships as we celebrate a special life. Inspired by LaVaughn's example of witty truth-telling and her love of life, may we spring up and bring to birth a resolve to live a life full of intention and service and spiritual encounter. Our love offers life to our memories. Our love leads to dedication and comfort, a going forward to the triumph of the soul's healing and the conquering of the wilderness of despair. Through our love and memory will come a deepening inward knowledge, a peaceful knowing that in the final reckoning, all is well. Beloveds, we all live in the shadow of death's mystery. Often we do our work in the dark, but we do what we can, we give what we have, we love as we're able. And if we cannot solve death's riddle on this side of the grave, and I wager that we cannot, we learn to live with it, even to play with it, because we prepare for death by living a full, honorable and loving life. LaVaughn certainly tried to live such a life. She lives on in our hearts, our prayers, our memories, and our stories. She will be missed, yet she left so much. So in the name of the faith that transcends all creeds and all rituals, open to the myriad ways we might conceive of what the divine is or what the divine is not, we offer this prayer, this message, this invocation in honor of that which we each find holy, deepest in our own hearts. Amen and blessed be. Now, earlier we opened the directions, so now we must give those folks permission to go. So I invite you as you're able to rise as we do the ritual now. This time we do it in reverse. And we begin with the region that's within. Within, we release your power, amplified, return. And below, earth, we thank you for your strength, return. And the above, we are grateful for the ocean of air you surround us with. Thank you and return. And then to the north, thank you for housing the ancestors and return. And to the west, thank you for your beauty and thank you for bringing us the endings when we didn't think one was in sight. Thank you and return. To the south, thank you for your warmth and for your learning and return. And to the east, thanks for showing us new days always await our embrace. A new way of understanding is there. Keep us awake and alert so we can find it and see it when we need it most. Return. Please be seated for our postlude. Please join us in our social hall for a reception right this way.